You did everything the careful way. You rented a proxy. You checked it for leaks. Your DNS and your WebG stayed quiet. You built the account in its own profile with its own fingerprint. And the account still got flagged the moment it signed up. Before it posted a word. Before it did anything a human could judge. The reason is the one layer people skip. The address itself carries a reputation, a score attached to it that arrives before your account does a single thing. Today is that layer, IP reputation and fraud scores, the number sitting on your connection that can flag you before your behavior ever gets a chance to look human. Why I watch the address layer. I run proxy and cloud phone farms and manage large fleets of separate accounts. And the accounts that die on day one, before any behavior at all, almost never die on the fingerprint. They die on the address. I learned to treat an IP the way I treat an email, as something with a past I did not write, a value the platform already has an opinion about the instant I connect through it. The browser is what the account looks like. The address is where it appears to live, and where it lives comes with a record. What a fraud score actually is. To you, an address is just the exit your traffic leaves from, to a platform, and to the scoring services a platform quietly buys from. It is a number. That number is a guess at one question. How likely is this connection to be a proxy, a VPN, a data center, a rented server, or a place that fraud has come from before? Your fresh account inherits that guess at sign-up, the same way it would inherit a bad neighborhood. You did not earn the score. You rented it along with the address. The address has a past you did not write. Every address existed before you paid for it, and it will exist after you let it go. Whoever held it last used it for something, cleanly or not. Maybe they ran 100 accounts through it. Maybe it sat on a block list for sending spam. Maybe it is a known exit that a dozen operators share this very month. You inherit all of that history the moment you connect, and none of it shows up in the pretty label the seller put on it. The address is not a blank page you get to write from the top. Data center ranges were a label. The easiest thing for a platform to spot is a data center. Whole blocks of addresses are published openly as belonging to hosting companies and cloud providers, grouped under an ASIN, the identifier that says which network owns them. When your traffic leaves from a range registered to a big cloud host, the platform does not need to inspect your browser at all. The address alone announces that a real person does not browse from inside a server farm, and the cheapest proxies in the world sit in exactly that kind of range. Residential and mobile read as ordinary. The reason residential and mobile addresses cost more is simple. An address that belongs to a home internet provider or to a mobile carrier reads as an ordinary person's connection, because that is what it usually is. DSN says a consumer ISP, not a hosting company, and that single fact moves you from looking like a server to looking like a household. You are paying for the address to wear the right label from the very first packet. Residential is not automatically clean, but a residential address is not automatically clean. And this is where people overpay for nothing. If the residential IP you just got is one that 100 other operators also rented through the same pool this month, it carries their fraud, not just your good intentions. Shared means inherited. The label says residential, which is true, but the score says heavily used by people doing exactly what you are doing, which is also true. And the platform reads the score, not the label. Separate from all of that, the scoring services keep running lists of addresses known to be proxy and VPN exits. An address can be genuine residential and still sit on that list because it has been sold as a proxy exit and seen behaving like one. Landing on that list flags the connection as not a direct home line, regardless of how clean your leaks are. You can pass every leak test on this channel and still connect from an address the platform already files under proxy. Plandit atinating vedstängda. Brett please connection when RAM and bring this hoplanten patisi mimosid. Then there are the outright block lists, the graveyards, address that send spam, carried fraud or hosted abuse land on public and private lists that platforms and mail providers check constantly. Rent one of those and you start underwater, flagged before you type your first character. The address is not neutral ground waiting for you to give it a reputation. It arrives with one, and sometimes the one it arrives with is a criminal record you are now standing on top of without knowing it. Why I lean on mobile addresses. This is why I lean on mobile addresses for the identities that matter. And the reason is not magic, it is crowding. A mobile carrier hands one public address to many real phones at once through the shared plumbing that carrier networks use. So a single mobile IP is packed with genuine people doing ordinary things. A platform that wants to punish that address has to accept it will punish real paying customers sitting on it too. The crowd you share a mobile IP with is not a leak. It is cover, and it is cover made of actual humans. Rotation churns your score. Rotation works against you here in a way people rarely think about. If your address changes on every request, or you burn through a big rotating pool, then each account touches many addresses, and each address touches many accounts, and you have built a tangle where scores bleed between everything. One clean address, held steady under one identity, beats a river of unknown ones flowing under all of them. For accounts you care about, a sticky address you have checked is worth more than endless rotation you have not. The location has to agree. A clean score is still not enough if the location lies. An address carries a place, a country, a region, a time zone the platform can read, and that place has to agree with the story the account tells about itself. An account that claims one country while its address sits on another continent is a contradiction. No matter how spotless the fraud score is, the address has to match the identity, language, and time zone and all, or the mismatch becomes its own flag sitting right underneath the clean number. Consistency over time. Platforms also watch how your address behaves across time, not just in one snapshot. An account that signs in from one stable ordinary connection every day looks like a person who lives somewhere. An account that hops between networks, changing SNs and country between sessions, looks like a setup being driven from a control panel, even if every single address it used scored clean on its own. Consistency is part of reputation. The story an address tells has to stay the same story tomorrow that it told today. Idinius onte, enius en der cognitionke, in Darwin's. Find out which SNs owns it, and whether that reads as a home provider, a mobile carrier, or a hosting company. Check whether it sits on a proxy list or a block list. Read its fraud score the way the platform will read it. There are services that show you roughly what a platform sees, and a minute spent reading that is worth far more than an hour spent trusting a product page. Do not trust the seller's word, because the seller's word is marketing, and the score is a fact you can read yourself. A provider calling an address clean residential is describing what they want you to believe, not what the scoring services actually say about it. Verify it yourself. On a throwaway identity you could afford to lose, before it ever touches an account that matters. If the address flags on a test account, you found the problem for free. If it flags on the account you spent a month warming, you paid full price for the lesson. Keep an address ledger. None of this holds together without records, so keep an address ledger beside the rest. Which identity sits on which IP or which pool? What it scored the day you got it, when it started going bad. It feels like bookkeeping for something you would rather not think about. Which is exactly why almost nobody does it, and exactly why they rent the same burned range twice, and wonder why the new account died like the old one. The ledger is what lets you retire an address with its account and check a new one against the graveyard first. Never recycle a burned address. Recycling the address behind a banned account onto a fresh one is the same mistake as reusing a burned email, and for the same reason. The platform remembers that exact address as one that carried something it removed. A new account connecting from it does not merely risk a link, it inherits the grave directly, standing on ground the platform has already dug. A dead account's address goes into the ledger with the account and does not come back out to sit under anything you are trying to keep alive. What a clean address layer looks like. Put it together and the shape is plain rather than clever. Addresses that read as mobile or genuinely residential. Checked before use instead of mourned after. Held steady under one identity rather than churned. Matched to the location the account claims. Written down and never recycled from something already burned. It is a handful of habits, not a product you buy in one click. The cost of doing it is small next to the cost of a fleet that all signs in from the same flagged range and falls together the first time one of them is looked at closely. The honest limit. And keep all of this in proportion, because the address is one input, not the whole verdict. A clean IP reputation does not make an account safe, and it never will. A spotless address does not save a sloppy fingerprint or reckless behavior underneath it. What a clean address does is remove one of the earliest and most automatic reasons a platform has to flag you. The one that fires on the connection before your account has done a single thing worth judging. It clears the first gate, not all the ones behind it, and it stays one strong input into a risk score that still weighs the behavior and the fingerprint. Anyone selling you an address they swear is undetectable is selling you a story, because the score is a fact, and facts do not come with guarantees. I pick the addresses under my own fleets exactly this way. Read before they are trusted, match to the identity that sits on them, and retire the moment they go bad. I run Singapore mobile proxy farms myself, so when I point you at mobile IPSIS, I am pointing at the real stack I use. Carrier addresses crowded with real phones, not a data center block wearing a residential sticker. The full guides and tested picks are at multi-account ops. With Encino checklist I use to vet an address, how I read a fraud score before I trust it, and honest write-ups of the proxies I actually run. No affiliate guesswork. If you have been treating the IP as just the exit your traffic leaves from, this is the layer to fix before the next account you build. Subscribe for more honest, tested multi-account ops. Next time, auditing your own fleet the way a platform would, reading the login history and the device list an account already shows you, and catching the link you missed before it does.